My name is Rod Smith. I'm representing Not Agency tonight, and we are proud to be a part of this Not Agency Salute to America opening ceremony. Of course, the fireworks are tomorrow night, but we have a great program for you tonight, and we're so glad that you are here tonight. My good friends Tom and Sharon Knott, Rick and Judy, give me a wave. Thank you for Not Agency and for helping us out in sponsoring this event. I would also like to thank the Jefferson City Community Symphonic Band who played just moments ago. Let's give them a hand. Thank you very much. Paul Hinman and band, thank you so much. Those are volunteer members that give up their time and they play a lot of different places, and normally they can put out a little donation basket in front, but state regulations say we can't do that tonight. But if you would like to donate to them in some way, make sure you see Paul Hinman and some of the community band there. They do a great job for us, Jefferson City Community Symphonic Band. We're proud to be a part of this patriotic celebration tonight, and well, if you were here this afternoon, it's been a nice change of weather, hasn't it? This is great. As long as we keep that one thing away, we'll be in great shape. I'm not going to say it, but it sure feels good tonight. Ralph Calberlow was asking, he said that this was way too hot today for a program, and by golly, Ralph, we got it much cooler. It's great. This is one of the few times at this moment I'd rather be a weatherman than a sports guy. But it doesn't happen too often. We'd like to thank you again for coming, and now as we open our ceremony, we would like to introduce the VFW Post 1003 Honor Guard, Tom Ward, Commander, presenting the colors. Will you please stand and remove your hats as the colors come forward? Here to sing our national anthem, the winner of the News Tribune Oh Say Can You Sing contest in 2011, Miss Sarah Light.
Oh, say can you see by the dawn's what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight. Oh, the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the red
Thank you, Sarah. Remain standing if you would. I would like to introduce a couple of talented young people in our capital city. I'd like to introduce the ambassadors for this year's festival. Reagan Smart, daughter of Matthew Smart and Militia Smart, and Tyler Martin, son of Joe and Shauna Martin, Little Mr. and Miss Independence 2011. They would like to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Reagan, and thank you, Tyler. If you would remain standing for just one more moment, I would like to lead us in prayer as we continue our program. Let's bow our heads. Father in heaven, we come before you thanking you for all of your gifts. Thank you, God, for this country that you gave to us. Thank you, Lord, for the men and for the women who have served our country and protected us and have given us the freedoms that we have. God, I pray that you would bless each and every one of those, and especially those who we honor tonight. God, bless our veterans here, even in Jefferson City and mid-Missouri. God, we give this program to you. We give this weekend to you as we celebrate the birth of our country. Thank you, God, that is still the land of the free and the home of the brave. God, we ask you that you continue to bless America. It's in your Son's name we pray. Amen. You may be seated. We have a special speaker tonight, Steve Paulsell. Steve served on the Boone County Fire Protection District for 38 years, 31 of those as its fire chief. In that capacity, Steve was also the developer and sponsoring agency chief for Missouri Task Force 1. Since his retirement 2.5 years ago from Boone County, Steve has been volunteering his time with a number of veteran support activities. The most significant is the Central Missouri Honor Flight. Steve was one of the founding members of the Honor Flight Hub and serves as vice president and flight director. Steve is also a proud member of the Patriot Guard Riders, providing escorts for our fallen servicemen and women. When not engaged in his volunteer activities, which take up a majority of his time, Steve provides consulting services to business and industry on disaster planning and disaster recovery. Ladies and gentlemen, won't you please give him a big welcome, Mr. Steve Paulsell.
Thank you. Good evening. It's a real pleasure to be here with you this evening. This is a tremendous festival that you put on here every year, and I commend the organizers and countless volunteers for their commitment to recognizing our nation's history, its freedom, and those that preserved our way of life for 235 years. I'd also like to extend on behalf of Central Missouri Honor Flight our appreciation for honoring our efforts, and specifically some of the World War II veterans who have flown with us, by asking them to serve as the Grand Marshal for this year's parade. That's very special and very meaningful to those folks. Thank you for that. Seated right out here, about 25, and 3 on stage, about 25 of over 100 Jefferson City World War II residents, veterans who have traveled to Washington, D.C. with us. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome these men and women who, for over 65 years ago, changed the course of human events forever. Your World War II veterans. Stand up. I'm going to give you a very quick and brief history of Honor Flight in Central Missouri and what we do and who we are and how it all works. Start with, as we all know, the World War II Memorial in Washington, D.C. was built and completed in 2004, much too late for many of our World War II veterans to see or to travel to see it on their own. In 2005, a fella in Ohio flew his father up to see his memorial in his small airplane. Came back about a week later. His father called him back and said, "Hey, I've got 7 more guys that want to go." And so he called up a couple other private pilots he knew, and they took a little squadron of Piper Cubs up there. And so the system grew from there. And today there's over 100 hubs just like ours throughout the United States that raise money locally and fly World War II veterans to Washington, D.C. at no cost to them to see their memorial. The national network, all over 100 hubs, are all volunteer. There isn't a soul in this system nationwide or in Central Missouri that makes a dime. These are all people who volunteer their time in grateful thanks to the veterans that served in World War II. The system will ultimately reach out to Korea veterans and Vietnam veterans as well as we move through the years. History of Central Missouri Honor Flight started about 2.5 years ago. Sarah Hill at Channel 8, KOMU, did a 3-part series on Honor Flight. Nobody around here was really familiar with it. And was familiar with the hub in Sedalia. She flew with a hub out of Sedalia, and from there we kind of launched a little system in working out of Columbia, Central Missouri Honor Flight. We raised a little bit of money in early 2008. Channel 8 allowed us to bump Wheel of Fortune one night for 30 minutes so we could do a telethon, and we found out very quickly how sacred Wheel of Fortune was. We also found out a lot of people were tuned in to watch it. We raised about $18,000 in 30 minutes. We thought at that point if we could take 2 trips in 2008, which would be, we kind of count by bus loads, 55, 110, 165, because we've got to take buses to St. Louis and around Washington, D.C. And so we thought if we could take 2 bus loads, 55 each, that'd be about 35 veterans each load. 70 veterans in the first year, 2 flights, we'd be doing really well to start. At the end of 2008, we'd taken 391 veterans on 7 flights. To this date, we have flown 15 flights, 833 veterans. And that would not be possible if it was not for people like you that have contributed your $5, your $10, your $20, organizations that do fundraisers. Tomorrow, as a matter of fact, the Outlaw Car Club will be right down here in front of the church with a fundraiser for Central Missouri Honor Flight, and we sure hope you'd stop by and see those folks. They really work hard to support us as well. But we get money from throughout Central Missouri and beyond in memory of veterans who have long since passed. I think last year, two small kids here in Jeff City set up a lemonade stand and raised over $700.
Be here with you this evening. This is a tremendous festival that you put on here every year, and I commend the organizers and countless volunteers for their commitment to recognizing our nation's history, its freedom, and those that.
The process very quickly is this: we take applications. We first come, first serve. That's how we work our way down the list. We review those applications. They go through our medical control process. We have physicians that volunteer their time to review those. Some are down here in front this evening. And they look for any kind of serious medical issues that would prohibit someone from flying with us. Out of 833 applications, we've only had to deny 2 for medical reasons. We've taken people literally out of hospital beds, double amputees, people on oxygen, dementia, Alzheimer's. We make it happen. That's our job. And we've been very successful at that with no serious injuries or illnesses or anything as a result. We travel with guardians who apply. Most of these guardians are selected because of their medical capability or previous military service, primarily in other conflicts, primarily in Vietnam. All guardians pay their own way, so the money that we raise goes directly to fly veterans. Once the flight is rostered and they agree to go, a lot of these World War II vets we found out are still very busy. They're combining, they're still running their businesses and so on. So once we get enough of them willing to go on a given date and book the flight, we conduct a pre-flight meeting about a week and a half before the flight. We bring veterans and their families in to talk about what we're going to do, what to wear, what to bring, and so on, and get them ready for the flight so they know us, we know them. And then flight day occurs bright and early, about 1 o'clock on a Tuesday morning. We do this in one day. They meet us at the Courtyard Marriott there in Columbia no later than 1:30 a.m. Most of them are there about 11 p.m., eager to go. We do breakfast, we get them checked in, we get them loaded on a couple of charter buses, we head out to St. Louis. We process through security, get to the airlines. We always fly on Southwest Airlines, they're great to us. We fly into Baltimore, stop there, and we never pass up a restroom. We make all those appropriate stops. Get on a couple more buses, eat lunch going down to Washington. We tour around up by the Capitol and then the White House and a few sites. World War II Memorial for about an hour. Back on the buses, back over to the Lincoln Memorial where we go to the Korea Memorial, Vietnam Memorial. Back on the buses, across the Potomac to Arlington, changing the guard at the Tomb of the Unknowns. Back down to the Iwo Jima Marine Memorial, over to the Air Force Memorial, and back to Baltimore about 4:30 in the afternoon. All of our guardians are trained in safety and medical capability. Make sure that this is a very precious cargo that we're carrying, and we're very careful about it. And then back on the plane, back to St. Louis, and back in here to a rather small and meager homecoming.
As a Central Missouri Honor Flight, our appreciation for honoring our efforts and specifically some of the World War II veterans who have flown with us by asking them to serve as the Grand Marshal for this year's parade. It's very special and very meaningful.
On some of them in the video. About 2 weeks after we return, we bring them back when they're rested with their families. We have a little welcome home celebration, give them CDs with photographs that we've taken, video, and some other memorabilia, and give them a chance to reconnect with each other. How can you help us? Well, obviously finance is an issue for us, but equally important, if not more so, is help us find World War II veterans. They're out there, we know they're there, we continue to find them, but there are still so many that are not aware of this free program. So if you know of someone that's a World War II veteran, or you know somebody that knows somebody, please encourage them to contact us. Go to our website, centralmissourihonorflight.com, pull down an application, help them fill it out, mail it in, and let's get them on one of those flights before it's too late. It's very, very important. Many of these folks will tell you it's the greatest day of their life. I find that hard to believe, but that's what they tell us. It's very meaningful. It's built that way. We learned a number of things in this process. It's not so much about the memorial. We thought it was when we started, about seeing the memorial, the granite, the marble, the brass sculptures. It's not that at all. They tell us it's about being with other veterans that shared the same experiences. They tell us that many of them tell us they feel that they
recognizing our nation's history, freedom, and those that preserve our way of life.
That has clearly changed on these flights. We estimate that for every flight that we take, there's probably over 700 sets of fingerprints on that flight. People working hard behind the scenes, planning, packing for us, making phone calls, people along the way, creating gestures of thanks and appreciation, and all those many people that are waiting for us to return home, whether it be at 11 o'clock at night or 1:30 in the morning. To learn more about Central Missouri Honor Flight and how you can get involved, refer to our website, or you can see us down here afterwards. We'll be standing around down here for a little bit. We'd love to talk to you. You know, prior to the video, I mentioned what we had learned. Let me share with you a few other things I've learned from my interaction with these great Americans, and more importantly, what I've learned about them. They are, across the board, the most humble and unassuming people I have ever met. When recognized for what they did, their response is typically and very quietly, we just did what we had to do and we came home. It's almost as if it was another day at the office. And when you pause and think about the world order then, our country was truly under threat. Two great world powers were on a mission of world domination, and we were a target. We often forget that we had German and Japanese submarines in our harbors. Had it not been for them, we would be speaking Japanese or German right now. What they did, I believe, was the most significant achievement in modern history, yet they remain very humble. They are responsible citizens, a title that they bring new meaning to. By the millions, these young men and women stepped forward and said, "Take me." Many we have found, when reviewing their applications for honor flight, actually lied about their age so they could join the fight. It was simply their duty as Americans. And they continue to live their lives that way today, volunteering at the VA hospital, delivering Meals on Wheels, serving as election judges, and so on. We find ourselves in discussions with veterans about payment. They want to pay their own way on these flights. Of course, we don't allow that. Our response is simple. 65 years ago, you wrote a blank check to this country for an amount up to and including your life. You owe nothing more. They are proud. Not so much of their... Thank you. Indeed, they did. They are proud, not so much of their service, but because they are Americans. They saw the hard way what it means to be free, to live in a land free of oppression and persecution. They saw it in the faces of Americans and Europeans in Japanese prisons in China. They saw it in Jewish faces in German concentration camps. They saw it in the faces of the French people as they welcomed our troops who stormed ashore on D-Day. And they saw it on every island in the South Pacific as enemy forces would rather throw themselves at our American forces than face the consequences of surrender from their own country. They're concerned about those that came after them. They often speak of the treatment received by our returning Vietnam veterans. We attempt to take Vietnam veterans as guardians, and we find the World War II guys taking care of them in an effort to perhaps heal their scars. It makes for some very special and emotional moments. These members of what Tom Brokaw proclaimed our greatest generation will always go out of their way in airports or at memorials to greet and thank current military personnel. Many will tell you they worry that many in our country have lost sight of our constitutional values that our country was built upon.
Recognizing our nation's history, its freedom, and those that preserve our way of life for 235 years. I'd also like to extend on behalf of Central Missouri Honor Flight our appreciation for honoring our...
We do our program on Honor Flight and then introduce the veteran, expecting and encouraging them to speak.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome these men and women who were over 65 years ago.
Constitutional values. We should all in our own way contemplate their concern. That was the last time this country, this entire country, was all pulling in the same direction for a singular purpose. Together, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Today's political discourse is, to say the least, disconcerting to all of them. And they are incredibly patriotic. You heard William Hill say in a video, "I love this country and I would do it all over again." It is that attitude and passion that for over 235 years has made this country great, strong, and one place in the world that everyone else dreams of coming to. And if that statement is the gold standard in patriotism, we should all take a little time, take a lesson from these guys. So as we pause to celebrate our nation's birthday and our freedom, as we play with our kids, eat our hot dogs, watch the fabulous fireworks, let us in our hearts and with our families pause and reflect on what being an American really means. Let us remember those of the greatest generation who have come before and those who have come before and after them, who have ensured over these many, many years that the United States of America has remained the land of the free and the home of the brave. Let us also, most importantly, keep in our hearts and prayers those great young Americans and their families who, as we speak here this evening, are proudly and bravely standing in harm's way throughout this world on our behalf to ensure that our way of life is preserved for generations to come. I can assure you these great Americans are thinking that. Thank you for having us here this evening. It was really an honor and a pleasure to be here, and I speak on their behalf, not mine. To our veterans, in the hearts of everyone here, gentlemen, we thank you for your service. May God bless you all, and may God continue to bless the great United States of America. Thank you. Good evening.
Let's give Steve Paulsell a big hand. Thank you, Steve, for your service. Thank you for your words tonight. For the Central Missouri Honor Flights, what a tremendous program. And in the world of sports, I get to talk about every night. You know, we talk about heroes. But let me tell you what, the real heroes are the ones right here, our greatest generation. Thank you. I'd like to continue on, introduce you to a gentleman who I happened to have on the sportscast the other night making an incredible putt, as a matter of fact. He's a golfer, and he's the mayor of Jefferson City. Won't you please welcome Eric Strump, the chairman of the Salute to America Foundation of Jefferson City, the Honorable Eric Strump.
A lot of people don't realize this, but that was the first putt I ever made. Thank you, Jefferson City, and happy birthday, America. And welcome to our honorees here this evening. As mayor of our great city, it is a great honor to celebrate our nation's independence and enjoy the wonderful freedoms awarded to us due to the service and sacrifices of the servicemen and women here today and abroad. Please join me in thanking the Salute to America Committee, which is a sponsorship-funded, volunteer-driven organization. It's ran by a not-for-profit foundation board. We have over 100 volunteers who give up their holiday so they work at this event so the rest of us can enjoy it. Let's give them a hand. This has become obviously the largest event in Jefferson City and usually attracts anywhere between 30 and 50,000 people. As I've said on many interviews over the last couple of weeks as the chairman of this board, with my family and families all around, it's not when are you going, have you been, we'll see you there, we're going to Elvis, we're going to be there for Little River Band. It becomes a family event. Rod started off this celebration tonight with a prayer, and I have something else I would like to say. May God continue to bless this festival, our country, and the great people of Jefferson City. Give yourselves a hand. It now gives me great honor as your mayor to introduce Mr. Don Hinches. Hinches served with the 101st Airborne Division in Vietnam, where he was nearly killed while on recon patrol near Hue. Hinches was medevaced to a hospital ship and then to Japan, and finally reunited with his family on Christmas Eve of 1968. Hinches received the Purple Heart, the Combat Infantry Badge, and also the National Defense Service Medal and the Vietnam Service Medal. Hinches has served as the commander and quartermaster of the VFW Post 35 in St. Martins, Missouri, and now serves as president of the Jefferson City Veterans Council. Please give a warm welcome to Council President, Mr. Don Hinches.
Thank you, Mayor. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and my fellow veterans. It is an honor and a privilege to stand before you. As president of the Jefferson City Veterans Council, I want to welcome each one of you to the capital of Missouri. As we celebrate our Independence Day, it is only fitting that we honor the men and women who have proudly worn the uniform in defense of our country. In order to receive the recognition you so deserve, would all members of the military service, past and present, who are here tonight, please stand, or if you're standing, just wave your hand and let us know who's a veteran. Give them all a big hand. Thank all of you. Thank you very much for your service. The Jefferson City Veterans Council is a group comprised of all the veterans organizations in the Jefferson City area and their auxiliaries. We work hard on behalf of the community to organize events and memorials for our veterans, bringing in such tributes as the Vietnam Memorial Moving Wall and designing and funding the Veterans Plaza located in the courtyard in front of the police station. In fact, if you have not had a chance to see that spectacular memorial, we encourage you to do so while you're enjoying these Independence Day activities. The Veterans Council also puts together the Memorial Day program at our National Cemetery here in Jefferson City. And we also put together the Veterans Day program here in our Capitol Rotunda on November 11th. We invite all of you to come to those every year also. I am here today to provide the call for the laying of the wreath ceremony. This is a traditional ceremony to honor and memorialize the military men and women who have given their time and lives to protect the principles upon which our Constitution is based. One by one, I will call a representative of each of the military branches who will come forward and place a cluster of flowers on the wreath. As they do this, we pay reverence to those who came before us and those who will come after. Quentin Rice will accompany by playing Amazing Grace on the guitar, followed by a special musical performance by Ron Schieferdecker. Representing the United States Army, Staff Sergeant Brooks Nicholas, World War II veteran. Representing the United States Navy, Seaman First Class Kenneth Gill, World War II veteran, Seabee. Representing United States Army Air Force, Sergeant Ralph J. Caberlow, World War II. Ralph is a former POW. Representing the United States Marine, Sergeant Richard Esseltine, Vietnam veteran, served in Vietnam in 65 and 66. Please join me in a moment of silent prayer. Thank you.
spouse, my children, and my wife. I thank my lucky stars to be living here today. 'Cause the flag still stands for freedom, and they can't take that away. And I'm proud to be an American, for at least I know I'm free. And I won't forget the men who died, who gave that right to me. And I gladly stand up next to you and defend us still today. 'Cause there ain't no doubt I love this land. God bless the USA. From the lakes of Minnesota to the hills of Tennessee, all across the plains of Texas, from the sea to shining sea, Detroit down to Houston, New York to LA. There's a pride in every American heart, and it's time to stand and say that I'm proud to be an American, for at least I know I'm free. And I won't forget the men who died, who gave that right to me. And I gladly stand up next to you and defend us still today. 'Cause there ain't no doubt I love this land. God bless the USA. And I'm proud to be an American, for at least I know I'm free. And I won't forget the men who died, who gave that right to me. And I gladly stand up next to you and defend us still today. 'Cause there ain't no doubt I love this land. God bless the USA.
Thank you, Ron Schaeferdecker and Quentin Rice. God bless the USA. Next, I'd like to introduce Jane Dunkman. Jane is the second vice president and marketing director at Jefferson Bank, as well as the chairman of the Salute to America celebration. Ladies and gentlemen, give her a big Jeff City welcome, Jane Dunkman.
All right, this morning, sweat was dripping off my nose. Right now, my nose is cold. This is crazy. Crazy weather, but it's going to hold out. I'd like to thank you for coming tonight, and I hope you'll stick around for Justin Shandor as Elvis. And come back. Yeah, he's coming. Elvis is in the tent, maybe. I don't know. All right. And come back tomorrow for a full day of celebration capped off by the Little River Band, brought to you by Riley. Yeah, Little River Band. They're brought to you by Riley Buick GMC and Midwest Block and Brick. And of course, the spectacular Sky Concert, Red, White, and Boom, tomorrow night. The fireworks display brought to you by our friends at Missouri Credit Union. This two-day event takes a lot of hard work and by more than 50 dedicated volunteers and generous, my lips are cold too, I think, contribution of our major sponsors. We'd like to thank Central Bank, Hawthorne Bank, the News Tribune, Scholastic, Cumulus, and many, many more. I'd also like to once again thank the sponsor of tonight's opening ceremony and a major sponsor of the 4th of July celebration, the Knott family. They've been a part of this celebration for many years now, and I'd like for all of you to join me in giving this community-minded business and all of our sponsors a big round of applause.
Jane, you are one busy woman. Thank you very much for undertaking this, and Nobody does it quite like Jefferson City when it comes to the 4th of July. It's so great to be a part of this celebration. As we close our opening ceremonies, we would like for you, if you are able, to stand again and to remove your hats as VFW Post 1003 presents the ceremonial firing and remain standing through taps. We began our program tonight with a question. Now with the bigger crowd, I want to hear your answer again. Are you proud to be an American? On behalf of all of our participants tonight, Don Hedges, Steve Paulsell, Mayor Strumpf, and our servicemen and women, our beloved heroes, thank you so much for being a part of this. Also the Jefferson City Community Symphonic Band, Quentin Rice, Ron Schaeferdecker, for the wonderful music tonight. We hope that you will stay around, enjoy Elvis in a little while, enjoy what Jefferson City has. We'll see you at the fireworks tomorrow. Thank you for being part of the opening ceremony brought to you by Not Not Agency. May God bless you and God bless America. Have a great evening.